because you want to move the ball forward in your life. Whether she said she wants a divorce or she wants space.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares.
Welcome to the C Note Show, gentlemen, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains. You are here because you want to move the ball forward in your life. Whether she said she wants a divorce or she wants space, or you're building that next phase, that next chapter of your life. If you're writing the autobiography of who you are now, who is the man that I'm becoming now, that's why you're here, because you want help moving that ball forward. You want to reach out to the men here within live Zoom, either over private chat, or you want to post questions or post where you're at right now, or you want to see men that you've seen in the private Facebook forum, our Great Men Move Mountains private Facebook forum here live. And so you have a tribe of men that are kicking ass in the world together, that are moving forward, or we can be there to reach down into the mud and pull each other up out of the mud. I'm Jeff Allen, a professional coach that works with men in the fear of divorce and in the divorce process and recovery from that. And this is Miss Cynthia Cruz, the only woman allowed on the show, professional coach. She specializes in this with me as well. Cynthia and I are engaged. We've been together for about 4 years. And so we share our shit on this show. We share our past relationships. We share the pains that we've been through, and we share the scars that we now help bring forward professionally and personally into this space so you can learn and move forward into your life. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you so much for having me. And it is so wonderful to see you all this morning or whatever time of day it happens to be for you. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, so awesome. And our gentleman that's going to come on today and share some of his story, he's got a halo behind him this morning. We're talking about that. Like, oh, yes, I naturally have this halo. It wasn't on purpose. Don't judge me for my halo. So Tim's going to come on here in a little bit and share some of his story with us. We asked him if he would come on, and he's been a regular on this show for the past, how long has it been now, Tim? How many weeks have you been on our show?
I think this is like 3, something like that. I saw my first show was the super horny Batman comedy, which is a bad thing because I just have like that video snippets of it, like behind you and Cynthia talking about anything.
Nice, good. You know, it's about shock value. We're shock jocks here. You know, yeah, that was the most fringe video I've ever shown. I don't think everybody liked that, but that's okay. That's okay. It made an impression. Hey, he came back. Look at that. Maybe I should show some more Batman, sexy Batman. Batman can't stop thinking about sex. Oh, man. Yeah, that's burned into my mind as well. Definitely, Tim. Well, thanks for being here. We love our regulars that are here from all over the world. You guys are phenomenal. Joseph, Tim, of course, and Rob and Ruben. Randy, good to see you again, bud. And Chris is here today. Good to see you, Chris. Joseph's here again. John. And let's see, this Gravliner guy, I don't know. He's a troublemaker. And Brett and Andy and Patrick. Yeah, Roger, we love you, man. You know that we love you. So on the show, oh, yes, you kissed the ring. You have the big ring on, too. Oh, my God. I'm glad that they, not everyone out there in YouTube land can see Roger right this second, because none of our videos would make it to, make it live. Yeah, Roger likes to flash body parts. We won't say which body part. It's what's it called? Fight Club up in here. Roger flashing the body parts. So we always start with some comedy after we share a post from our forum. We got a great post, a positive post from our forum today. We have 130. We just broke 130 men yesterday on the private Facebook forum.
Oh,
Cynthia.
wow.
Every guy has been personally invited in, so you have to request to be invited. You can go to our website. I'll share that at the end of where to go to fill out, the request to be invited. And we start with posts from the forum and then some comedy. And then we dive into the shit like we always do and kick up off the bottom of the pool with a perspective and a plan for life. So it's fantastic to see you guys here. Ready, Cynthia?
I'm ready.
You are starting to rise in the world in body, mind, spirit. We're here to learn the 3 forms of confidence, the behavioral skills of what to do, the emotional confidence of how to do it, how to control myself if I have anger or shut down or I'm terrified of divorce right now. That's the emotional confidence. And the spiritual confidence of what mindsets do I have. So you're here to grow your mindsets on how to perceive this chapter in my life, what I'm going through, what I just went through, and where I want to go from here. Those are the 3 forms of confidence that we talk about and dive deep into on this show. Love so much bringing that to you. And our theme of this week is Chicks Dig Scars. So our post from the forum here today, this man says, I'm truly grateful to live with and accept myself every day. We don't make mistakes. We choose the best option in the moment. So this is his mindset now, the mindset he's growing into. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. We have an opportunity to learn other solutions for the future. Yeah, that's why we're here, is to not make those same mistakes from the past. That's what we want to learn about on the show and hear from other men. If we hurt someone in the process, we aren't guilty for making a mistake and trying to fix or repair it. Instead, we forgive ourselves because we know that we did our best with the choice we made, and we can be curious, compassionate, and empathetic to the person that we hurt. The feeling of liberation from your own and others' judgments and euphoria for yourself, love and hope that you are amazing just the way you are. The reality that is a daily struggle, and as those thoughts of shame, embarrassment, or judgments come into your mind, don't let them take over. It's an amazing opportunity to tune into your fears and forgive, empathize, and have compassion for yourself. I'm grateful for those moments. You know, it's funny, when I was reading this, there was some things that I had a tinge of disagreement with, in that, you know, that we never make mistakes. It's like, well, I think that depends on how you look at it, right? And so on this end of the spectrum, Cynthia, it sees, yeah, we grow from our mistakes. We grow from our failures. There's no such thing as a mistake that's just a negative situation in our life, if we look at it in the mindset of we can grow from it and learn from it. And then over here, we want to learn how to be that man in the world, how to write the next chapter of our life. And so we can study those things. We can study the philosophy that we talk about, the Stoic and the existential philosophy that we talk about. We can talk about the men's books that we read, No More Mr. Nice Guy, The Masculine in Relationship, and such. There's, you know, I have about 100 books that I recommend to men in our private coaching. And so there's this balance of learning to be the man I want to be going on in the future, and honoring who I've been and the mistakes that I've made for the growth that I can have in the world. So how does that hit you, that both of those things can be true at the same time? You know, we all do our best. We're honoring what we've decided and who we are, right? And we want to grow also in our mindsets and our behaviors and in our emotional control. So how do you look at those two things? Those might be almost opposing energies. So how do you look at that?
Well, I was thinking about the energy behind the word mistake. And I think men and women might experience that energy differently. So I was thinking about that. And then I'm like, oh, so use a mistake like a catapult. So it's either a way to kind of set a boundary, like, yeah, I made a mistake. And as long as that's the energy of like, I'm putting it out there, I'm owning it, and now I'm catapulting myself forward, that seems really productive, versus the like, oh, I made a mistake, or every day I'm carrying this load, this like feed sack on my back of guilt, and like I messed up, and how will I ever not mess up again? How will I ever fix this? That doesn't seem like the same kind of energy.
Yeah, I love that. Let's look at it like a catapult and not a backpack full of rocks that we have to carry around for the rest of our life. How do we launch into the next chapter?
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to be talking about that throughout the show of, well, what do I do with the shame, embarrassment, and judgment? Can I have euphoria for my own self and for these things, you know, or do I feel like I don't deserve it in some capacity, right? Those are the forces that I wake up with some days. Absolutely. You know, we all have a human experience. And like I say, in 2015, I woke up with dread and fear and confusion and purgatory is the feeling I felt in 2015, which was the worst year of my relationship life that I talk about in the show. Definitely. So I've been in all those soups of emotion, right? And made those mistakes. And that's why we have this tribe, is so that we can learn from each other. We can pick each other up and move forward into the world. Love it so much. All right, let's share our comedy, and then we're going to bounce over to our gentleman who's going to share for today, and we'll dive into the shit. So today I'm going to share another skit from Jake and Amir, who, if you didn't see yesterday, these guys are like from the show The Office, Jim and Dwight have kind of an office rivalry. Well, that's the whole premise of these Jake and Amir skits. And Man, I laughed my ass off at this one. So let me go ahead and share this one with you right now. Here we go.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you?
What? I was just scaring you. It's a joke. You were legit scared.
No, I'm just freaked out about the hand, you know?
What hand?
You hear about this?
No.
There's a crazed axe murderer.
No.
Yeah, serious. He's in an insane asylum, and he chopped off his own hand,
Okay, stop.
and it's missing. They don't know
Okay,
where
I
it
don't want to
is.
think about that.
We don't have to think about it. It's pointless anyway, because it's far away. It's never gonna. Oh no!
I can't kill it. Oh my God.
Hey. Look, hey, look at my shirt. There's nothing in my shirt, right? There's no hand. It was my hand. You're fine. Come on, okay? You're fine. He's fine. He's a big boy. Smile like a big boy. Huh? You want to get ice cream?
I don't know.
You're fine. You're gonna be okay. He's fine.
Oh my God. I can see Roger doing that to someone in his office. Oh, it's terrifying them. So Cynthia yesterday said that she was having empathetic pain for the guy in the skit yesterday. I'm wondering, do you have empathetic pain for him being scared in that episode there?
With greatest respect, that reminded me of sitting like in 7th grade and watching the young guys around me do their thing, and okay.
Oh my God, so good. Yeah, 7th grade. Let's see. That's when my friend would say, "Oh, my arm hurts." I'd say, "Where?" and then punch him right where he said it hurts. Yeah. That's what we do. That's what guys do, right?
I love that. That's so not what I do.
I think one of my favorite parts is when they cut over to the rest of the office and everybody's watching and judging him for how much he terrified Amir there. Oh my gosh. So I'll have to share that link because I watched it like 3 times in a row and I couldn't stop laughing. Anyway, maybe that's my sixth sense of humor. That's how I think that's funny, guys. Don't judge me for it. Oh my goodness. All right. So on that note, I want to jump back to the opening question we have for today. I'm asking an opening question every day this week, and our theme is Chicks Dig Scars. And so in that vein, I would love for everyone here to post in the chat the answer to this question, either one word or a phrase or a quick sentence. What do I have the freedom to choose? So right now, no bullshit in your life, guys. So be honest with us, right? This isn't to fluff me or blow wind up our skirt or to make yourself just feel better by typing something fantastic. Be honest with us and be honest with yourself. What do I have the freedom to choose right now? I have the freedom to choose what I'm doing with my time. I have the freedom to choose what I'm doing after the show, what I'm doing on the show right now. Am I chatting with other guys privately? Am I saying hi to a man I've never seen in this group before? Am I saying hi to men that I've seen in our 14th week every day for 14 weeks here on the show? So what do you have the freedom to choose in your life? In the vein of, chicks dig scars. They want you to understand what you have control of, what you've lived through, and the mindset of how you perceive it now, right? So what do you have the freedom to choose? Yeah, phenomenal. We got responses coming in already. I can choose my responses, right? Cynthia, go ahead and honor our chat, please.
The freedom to how I spend my time. Joseph said the freedom to show up. It's my freedom to choose how to show up and how I respond. And Patrick said the freedom to choose is hope.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. So good. So on that note, Tim, I'd love for you to come in and share. So we don't have a preordained question or situation. We want to just allow you, Tim, and every man that wants to come on the show, share where you are. Maybe ask a question if you like, or just put the shit on the table for the men. We don't have to necessarily try to magically fix everything in this one moment, but this is about bringing it to us and just being honest with us here, right? Sharing your heart with us. So Tim, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm a little triggered by today's comedy, Jeff, because my wife has a brother that chopped one of his fingers off just to see what it was.
Just to see what?
Just to see what it would feel like.
Oh my God, that's not real, is it?
No, it is. So, yeah, I don't know that I have. I don't know. Let me give you the short version of my background, where I'm at. So, I'm an engineer. I work way too much from time to time. My wife will say from all the time to all the time. My wife has chronic health issues that I won't go into details about, but that makes her more or less available. And it makes, I think I struggle with how to be empathetic. I fall into kind of the caretaking role, which definitely causes problems. So kind of where we're at right now, my dad died suddenly in the summer of 2018. And that just really rocked my world when it happened. And I don't know, I struggled for 6 or 7 months just with feeling like life was pointless and trying to work my way through that. Like, even though I knew that he wouldn't want me to be, struggling to move on from him not being here anymore, I don't know, I just had a really hard time.
Yeah, of course.
And then, I don't know, I found that starting to go to church again really helped me in that time. And that's a really complicated topic with my wife, because she has a pretty difficult history from her family of origin with organized religion and what that means. And when she came to me to share how she felt about me going to church, the short version of it was, well, you doing this is going to be the end of our relationship. And I'm thinking, how in the world could that possibly be the end of our relationship if I choose to go spend a couple of hours on a Sunday morning when you're typically still asleep, doing something that I feel is good for me. And I don't know, I didn't do a great job of hearing what she was trying to say or being inquisitive about it. I immediately jumped to, and when she was talking to me about it, it was definitely the emotional tsunami of, like, it wasn't, a conversation about, this is how this makes me feel or whatever. It's, this is the end of the world, and that level of emotion.
Yeah.
So if we move forward, Tanya also went through a pretty difficult year last year with health things, and I could feel that things were different and more distant than they had been. And I kind of chalked it up to, well, she's feeling really, having a really difficult time with health concerns. And, I don't know, I ended up getting laid off from a job I had for 10 years. They decided to shut down the office here in Austin last fall. And then when I had kind of 2 months between that job being over and the new job starting, I said, all right, we haven't gone on a vacation in a while. Let's go on a vacation. And by that time, she looked at me, and she didn't say these words, but the attitude was, I don't want to go on a vacation with you.
Yeah.
And it really came to a head in December of last year when, I don't know, I heard her talking on the phone with some people, and then I heard her masturbating, and then I heard her talking on the phone again. And I don't know, that made me feel really strange, being in my house and feeling like I was kind of invading my own house in some way.
Yeah.
And I decided that I should just try to talk to her about it. And I don't know, when I went to the door, it was locked, which is also a trigger for me to have locked doors in the house, which is, I don't know. I'm understanding her need for space and autonomy more and more, and I view that differently now, I think. But I don't know. But by the time we talked about it, I was angry for sure, even though I was trying not to be angry.
Right.
And I asked her if she was, like video chatting with somebody or what was going on. And I was trying to be cool about it, but I know that I didn't come across that way. And she just lost it, and it just ripped into me about how I was the most horrible husband ever, and that I didn't care about her, and that, she had always been faithful to me, but if she hadn't been, that it would be totally justified because I never cared about her anyway, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, just character assassination time, right?
Yeah. And so then, I don't know. I told her in the moment, man, this is a lot that's just come out, because, we had been distant, and I felt like I was trying to figure out what was going on, and it just kind of all came gushing out. And I said, I don't really know how to respond to this. It's like 12:30 at night, and I'm tired, and I don't want this to keep escalating. Like, let's try to go to bed and talk about this more. And I laid down, and a little while later she came in, and I thought she was taking her medicine or something, and she was in the master bathroom for quite a while, and I went to see what was going on, and she was packing a bag and said, yeah, I'm just so livid. I can't believe like the way you are. I'm leaving. And she ended up leaving and going to a hotel and stayed there for about a week. And we started going to see a counselor that we had seen back in 2015, because that's the good year for all things relationships. And after our first session or two with that counselor, Tanya really focused on, feeling like everything that was going on in our relationship could be worked on except for the sexual aspect of it. And I don't know, I kind of latched onto that and said, all right, well then I don't know if this other counselor is really the person that I feel comfortable talking to about this stuff, or like, I don't know that she has a lot of experience with, Tanya was openly asked me, whether I would consider opening our relationship. And my immediate gut response was to say, what are you, crazy? Like, no. Right. But I wanted to try to understand like how I really felt about it, and like whether, I don't know, just, I didn't want to have a knee-jerk reaction to her asking that. So I found somebody that had lots of experience with that, and we started going to see her when, I don't know, I had some family stuff happen in Iowa right before COVID happened. And so I went up to see my mom, who is 70 and has COPD and really shouldn't get exposed to COVID stuff, and was staying there with her for a while. And once I was gone, my wife said, I'm really enjoying my space. I don't want you to come home.
Right.
And that was really hard for me to hear. And by the time we got to April, I talking to this new counselor, I finally just realized the fact that, I kind of understand how I feel about this opening our relationship thing, and it's okay that I don't want that. And I told my wife that, and she got upset, and I didn't do a good job of not getting upset. And it devolved into me saying, well, I think that what we're both saying is that we want to separate, and I want you to, I asked her if she had been thinking about that, because, you know, we had talked about, I had asked her if that's what she wanted, like in January, and she said that she didn't. And she said she still hadn't thought about it. So I said, why don't you take a few days to like collect your thoughts, think about how you want this to look, and we can start talking about what it's going to mean to split things apart, because I don't know how we reconcile, you know, me wanting a monogamous relationship and you wanting to be in an open one.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, a few days went by, and, you know, I was still 1,000 miles away, and she asked if we could wait until we were in the same place in order to have more serious conversations about this. And I said, yeah, that sounds all right. And I kind of went no contact without telling her that's what I was doing, which in retrospect, I probably should have said, I want to be no contact for a while, because anyway.
I mean, did you just stop responding to her text or something?
No, I didn't stop responding. I mean, I was the one that had been trying to keep in touch while I was away, and she had been waiting for me to initiate things.
Sure.
And I just kind of stopped trying to be the one keeping in touch all the time. And so we didn't really talk for a few weeks. And then,
okay, that's fine.
I don't know, as things move forward, she had a really scary thing happen in her family in June, and she went to Colorado to be with her family during that time. And my family thing kind of got resolved, and I came home the end of June, and then she came home like a week later, and we've been living at home again for, I don't know, 3 weeks now, something like that.
Okay.
And I didn't really know what to think, what things would be like. And we've talked some, and she said that she does really want to work on things with me, that she, you know, she wants things to be better with me, and that she's not certain that, you know, her need to connect with other people, or however you want to put a euphemism on being with other people, is going to go away, but she wants to focus on fixing things with me. And I don't know, we got in the pool together at night, and she likes to skinny dip in the pool, and she got in and was bouncing around and saw that I was looking at her and asked me if I was trying to avoid looking at her. And I said, no, I think you're beautiful, and I'm looking, and I see you. And I was just hanging out in the pool and not really making any moves or anything like that. Not going for the boob grab or,
right.
And she ended up with her back against the wall of the pool, and she grabbed me with her legs and pulled me in and just, I don't know, kissed me. And it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. When was that? This week?
It was probably 2 weeks ago. It was like she came home on Wednesday, and it was the Saturday after she came home.
And so was that confusing for you, like when it was happening, or did you just go with it, or how did you feel during that?
it wasn't really confusing for me, I don't think, because I know that I still feel deeply about her and that I want to be with her. And at the same time, though, I know that I have a lot of anxiety about sex and about some of the things that she said to me, about my ability to, give her what she needs and wants.
Right.
I'll also share that I've been diagnosed with low testosterone too.
Sure.
And I'm finally coming to the place where I'm admitting that I do have ED issues.
Sure.
So I know that the anxiety about what's going on and getting in my head when things are happening totally contributes to that problem. And
well, I mean, let me share vulnerably. There's a bunch there, which is awesome, Tim. This is great. So let me share really vulnerably, right? So after my last relationship, I couldn't keep my dick hard for like a year, man. It was tough with different women, or like I was kissing a woman I would be dating and I wasn't hard, and like what? And then all up in our head, right? So that Cynthia and I have talked about this too. When she and I first got together, I talked about this, and I've talked about it now. I mean, I turned 42 this year. I was born in 78, and still I have trouble once in a while. Like it's something that I think like no one ever talks about, and it's like the end of the world to try to talk about it with our women if we've never done it before. And
for sure.
We think we're the only one, and that's definitely not.
Well, and when I was 18, I was the guy that had read The Multi-Orgasmic Man, and I was like,
sure. Well, you can
don't challenge me because I will go all night.
Exactly, man. 18, you can do 20 cock push-ups and go all night long. You don't have to worry about it. But so thank you for admitting that. So bring us to today. So that's 2 weeks ago. You're in the pool. She's having fun flirting with you. She obviously likes attention. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff too, which is, understandable, and we've talked about before, and I'm happy to dive into if you want. But so bring us to today, right? What have the last 2 weeks been like? Have you talked again about both of your values in relationship? Are you still seeing that counselor? Where are you today?
Yeah, so we haven't seen the counselor. We haven't really had what I would call a serious talk about, values and how she's feeling about our connection, whether she feels like I'm present or totally distant, and I've been working at home, and she shared how, with the amount that I worked, or work when I was going to the office all the time last year and then was laid off and I was just home, that was really difficult for her, because it's like she had this guy who didn't know what the hell he was doing, sitting in the house all day. And, I'd say like in the middle of my severance period or whatever, before I started the new job, I kind of on my own said, well, this is ridiculous. Like waiting for her to decide that she wants to go on some kind of vacation, or waiting for her to decide she wants to join me in life is not going anywhere. So I have like a large list of shit that needs to get done that I never do because I'm always working. And I just made a list and started working on projects that I wanted to get done. And that helped me feel a lot better about life. And I wasn't, I don't know, just sitting around.
Hell yeah.
She's like her typical health cycle these days is that she has 7 to 10 days during the month where she is just kind of out of commission and in bed. And that's been the last 7 to 10 days or so. And it's time for a monthly medication that should hopefully help her feel better again for a few weeks. And I feel like we've seen each other for a couple of hours in the evening when she's up and out of her bedroom, and we've been kind of hanging out. And I don't know, like we went and sat outside last night and tried to look for the comet for the like fourth night that we've tried to look. And I'm convinced that we have too many trees on the horizon, and we just need to drive out into West Texas where there's nothing if we want to see it. So.
Good idea. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so trying to have emotional connection now, it seems like we've still shoved in the closet the whole topic of sexuality and seeing other people. It seems like that's kind of on pause, even the discussion of that. Is that true? Or are you talking with the counselor about it?
I don't know. I feel like it's a topic that I want to be open to talking about with her, but I'm worried about coming across like, all right, I know we talked about this like 3 seconds ago, but now I want to talk about it more because, there's all these other rational angles that I want to go through.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. So now
I'm trying not to do that, and I probably am too far the other way of, all right, well, I told you I am not cool with it, and you've told me that you're willing to like shelve it for a while at least. So
yeah.
All right, we're done.
Yeah. So let me jump in. Thanks, Tim. So what I wanted to bring you into your current frame of mind. So your current frame of mind is like, I don't know what to do about that. Okay, which is valid. And that's where you are right this second. And we can definitely talk about that. And you've got the like, do I just say the same thing again? Or do I say we're done again? Like that's where you are, it seems like. Is that true? You're just not sure where to go from here. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. And I know a big part of my problem is that I try to handle everything when she doesn't feel well. And then, I don't know, I'm probably like not trying to engage with her enough. And then she ends up feeling like I don't give a shit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it feels like there's 3 or 4 big things that are brought up, Tim, right? So it's engagement with her over time during the time. And I'm definitely going to bounce off Cynthia. I mean, absolutely, I'm going to go to Cynthia here in a minute. There's how you engage with her and when. There's how you feel about yourself through these different transitions in life, including growing, to the next chapter of life, including, well, my dick doesn't stay hard like I would like it, which Roger made the point, and I was going to say, you can go to, this, Tim, you can go to the doctor and look at your teeth and that kind of, so that's a different thing. There's, are we talking about our sex life? That's a different thing. And then there's, well, how do I want to move into the next chapter of my life now, whether it's with her or not? And so let me take a big step back, Tim, and I want to honor you for, it seems like you've really known, maybe you paused and checked in with yourself, but you've really known what you've wanted and not wanted, and you've stood up for that. You've stood up for that you didn't want to open the relationship. You've stood up for that you want to be monogamous in a relationship. You've stood up for that you do want to be connected to your wife. I don't have any feeling that you've tried to run away from anything. I don't have any feeling that you've collapsed in on yourself. It doesn't feel that way to me. Would you say that that's fair to say, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I've been, talking to her, talking to other people. Like, I have an individual person that I've seen on and off for like 20 years.
Nice.
And I've been seeing her regularly this spring, and we were seeing that couples person together until we kind of got to April and had the discussion about, well, we're going to need to split up from here, I guess. And I don't know. My wife has said that she's interested in continuing to try to go see her either on her own or together. And I kind of feel like I'm at this point, even though I feel a little bit like I was groping around in the dark on my own, finding, some really good things. Like, okay, it's okay that I feel the way that I do, and I'm going to, become comfortable enough with that. And I still didn't do a great job of telling her how I felt without getting angry about it, because, her immediate response was, "You're just a petulant child that won't try a new vegetable." And then I just
there's a lot. There's a lot of stabbing. There's a lot of stabbing back and forth happening, and then it devolved. That's understandable. I mean, no one's going to blame you or shame you for that. It's not the best, but this isn't a vacuum. It's not like, "Hi, I'm going to show up perfect," and then she fucking stabs you with a spear in the stomach, and you're like, "Oh, that wasn't very nice. Let me continue to be totally kosher." Like, that's not reality.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that since my friend helped me find you guys, and I've been, trying to soak up as much as I can, things like holding her in a high regard, and learning about how important energy is, with interacting with her, because she said things to me like, "How can you be so oblivious? Like, when you're upset or in a mood, I know. Like, you don't have to say anything. I just know."
right.
And I'm kind of sitting there while she's saying this, saying, "Well, I'm not trying to be ignorant or ignore you, but I don't know these things. You need to talk to me like a man." And, obviously that doesn't work.
Well, so the one last thing I want to say is it feels like you're trying to take a step forward, and then she's giving you a lot of shame. She's shaming you a lot. And then back to you starting to go to church is the end of our relationship. There's a truckload of something underneath there as well. And it sounds like she's projecting a lot of shame onto you. I mean, that's kind of a normal thing here. I do want to ask you a question in a moment, but let me open up to Cynthia and also the chat is, I and every man here totally appreciates your vulnerability, Tim. Like, this is fucking awesome. You're putting it out there for us. It feels like you're even taking steps forward, just saying these things out loud, maybe even for the first time to us, or maybe you've spoken to some other people, that are super close to you, but putting this out there and not being ashamed of it is huge. So thank you for doing that, Tim. So Cynthia, what are you picking up on, if you don't mind? And there's, like I said, I think there's 3 or 4 big things going on, but what's at the top of your mind? What would you like to share with Tim?
Oh my gosh. Well, Tim, thank you so very much for your honesty and vulnerability. And I've just been watching the chat, and gentlemen, I've just been in great appreciation and resonance with you of the fire that you have been through, are in, and are standing with such power. And I mean, honestly, it's like grace, because you're just balancing so much. And someone also mentioned in the chat, like, they just still feel your heart and compassion, and that's unbelievable to me. I feel your certainty about what you're not okay with in a marriage. And I think it was Roger who even said, yeah, that sounds like it's a nut that you chose and you're not willing to waver on. And I just wanted to say to you that you deserve to be in a relationship with a woman who wants to crawl in bed with you, to be wrapped up in you, to have you inside of her. And that you and the two of you are on this like journey together of, I never believe sex is just a stagnant, we either achieve a certain place or we've never achieved a certain place, and that's just the way it is forever. That there's a continual adventure together with that. And that's, to me, what was powerfully moving in me, that you deserve to have that energy in your life, and someone who wants to be with you in that way. And I know that doesn't move the ball forward other than that's something I believe with certainty, and that's kind of my stake in the sand for you.
Well, yeah, I think it does move the spiritual, the mindset ball forward of he deserves that. Absolutely. I mean, so yeah. So Tim, with our time today, and we can certainly talk more as well. Absolutely. What's a question in your mind that you have now, or what do you want to ask a question at this point, or how do you feel at this moment?
I kind of feel right now like I've heard what you said about like the 3 phases to go through that you like to go through with all the guys you coach of stop fucking up and grow and then
Ask. Yeah.
move into ask.
Yeah.
And, even though like I think that there's, I had kind of come to my own conclusion that continuing to fight and argue about things is not productive, and is not getting me what I want. And so I think I have been trying to just stop adding to that. I know that there's a lot of techniques and things that that I can practice and work on. And I want to work on growing. And I'm starting to think about, what are some of the things that I want to ask for, but I know that I'm kind of far away from worrying about that. And Cynthia, like, I really appreciated what you had to say, because I think that I think where I really turned a corner is when once I finally said, all right, look, like, I think we're going to need to split up, or, I know that I don't want this. Like, I finally came to the realization of, whether it's with, my current partner or with somebody else, that I really do deserve to be with somebody who wants to be in a relationship with me. So, I can see what you were saying is got a lot of truth. Thank you. Thank you
for sharing that.
Yeah. So Tim, I'll say your grounding in that, your belief in that is where you're starting now. Your grow. So the phase of grow for you, I see, is growing your depth of belief, and that's what you want, and that's what you're going to have. You're not attached to when it's going to come, whether a month from now, a week from now, 3 years from now. It doesn't matter, quote unquote, when that happens. You just know you're stepping toward that. So if we're lost in the woods, we just have no idea which way to turn, or we could be turned around inside and be doing circles. But if we are following a guiding light, or this kind of work, if we're following this guidance, if you will, that I learned from other men, and now I teach other men, and we teach other men, at least you're going in the right direction, and you're going to end up where you want to be. Like, that's what you can ground yourself in the knowing of. I also want to honor something that Roger said, and I totally agree, that I'll paraphrase, which is, sometimes women, and this is one of, let's say, 10 things within the soup, which is probably underestimating how many things are in the soup. But you have to realize, for a woman, there's always 10 things, 20 things in the soup of the way that she's acting or feeling in that phase of life. Would you agree with that? Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
I am sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that being verified, okay, no, I don't want to open the relationship, and this is what I want, is confident and strong. And that is one thing that will draw her towards you. And then saying, look, I guess we need to separate, is creating a healthy vacuum, because I don't want that, and I want something different, and here's what I want. So it looks like we need to separate, is a healthy vacuum between the two of you that can draw her towards you again, right? And so, like Roger was saying, is it a test? It's absolutely, it's one of 20 things that's going on, let's say, but it's absolutely a confidence test or a congruence test of, do you know who you are and what you want? And that's what I was honoring you, 10 minutes ago, and saying, it seems as though you've known what you wanted, at least in this catastrophe of a moment. No, I don't want to open the relationship. You've been solid about that, whether you thought about it for a day or, you know, whether you communicated great with her or not. You've been solid on that. So that's fantastic, right?
Well, I think what I was really looking for was a way to explain how I felt about it that wasn't saying, fuck no, are you insane? Like, it took me a while to get distant enough and talk enough about what was going on to be able to know that I wasn't just reacting out of fear or, you know.
Sure. And I'll say that's normal. Like when I've said this a couple times on the show. In 2015, when I saw a text at 3:00 in the morning on my then wife's phone that said, from another man, that said, "I want to touch your body, love," I flipped the fuck out. You know, I was yelling like, "What the fuck is this?" And continued yelling. Now, I don't expect any of us to be amazing at, and that's before I did men's work. And I could say like, I could have handled it better. That's an understatement. Like, you know, I didn't throw anything. I didn't hurt her or anything like that. But I flipped the fuck out. And so I'm not saying that's good or bad or whatever. That's just what happened with me. So I understand that. Now, here's the point, though. The point forward, Tim. Okay, so coaching is recognizing what's happened in the past, making a plan, and moving forward toward what you want. Okay, let's like turn your shoulders toward what you want here. And so you need to now do homework and write down, what do I want from the next phase of my life? And I'll give you an example. So I want to have fun, flirty, passionate sexual experiences with my wife. I want to press pause on relationship conversations for 2 months, for 60 days or 90 days or however long that you want, to try some fun, flirty, sexy shit with my wife, who obviously is wanting that kind of to try some of that stuff with me, hence the pool and hence the being naked in front of you. Okay, that seems obvious to me. That's what she's telling you through her actions. Now, definitely not every man is in this same spot, right? There's a lot of guys that be like, I'd love to try some fun, sexy, flirty shit with my spouse and press pause on conversation. So that's what it feels like to me, is you have to decide what you want to even try with your wife right now within the boundaries of, no, I don't want to open the relationship. And if, you know, wife, if you need to do that right now, then we're going to separate right now. But if we agree that we're going to press pause on the relationship, or we're going to press pause on this question of opening the relationship for 90 days, let's take the next 90 days to have fun with each other once in a while. Let's try some fun, sexy shit. Let's try, you know, talking to this sex therapist about how we can do that with each other. You said it when you were 18, you read the sex book, right? It's like, let's flip the pages and open it up to something and just see what happens over the next 90 days. Now, that's not going to magically, let's say, fix the truckload of other things that she brought up. Okay, but all that other stuff from the past are different ingredients in that soup. But where you are is, what do you want for the next 60 days? And from my professional opinion of what you're telling me, it sounds like fun, sexy, flirty stuff over the next 60 days with your wife, and press pause on the other stuff. Go to your counselor, your independent counselor, and talk about what you're going through in the next 60 days. Share with us what you're going through, right? And don't put that, quote, burden of your current mindset in this chapter, if that's what you decide. Okay, so what I help guys do is delineate and focus on what's your goal in this chapter, whether that's, if this chapter is a month or 6 months, it doesn't matter, but you can decide what you want to focus on in this chapter of your life. Okay? So how does that hit you when I say that? I know we're coming to the end here. I want to get Roger raise his hand too, but Tim, first, how does it hit you when I say, hey, maybe the next 60 days is, and be honest with me, if you're like, no, I don't want to do that, I really think I want to do this other thing, that's cool. But how does that hit you when I say that?
It resonates with me, and I hear what you're saying about bringing my mindset and concerns, you know, to the men or to my individual person that I talk to, and you know, trying to keep things fun and flirty with her. I worry about, you know, when I've tried to talk in terms of timelines, or, you know, not even like a solid timeline, but just, you know, give me, you know, let's agree for 90 days to work together as a counselor and put this on the side. In the past, she said, why do you have to put a timeline on things? And
Right.
and why are you trying to box this in? And, you know, I think, so the concept of trying to delineate a timeline for agreeing to not want this, I don't know how realistic that is.
Sure. So let me jump in. What I meant is for you.
Yeah. All right.
For you to decide for yourself. Okay. It's pretty consistent that women don't. So she's wanting freedom. She's screaming, and also from her own body, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she wants agency really, really bad.
Yeah.
She wants freedom.
Okay. So I thank you for saying that. I should be specific. You decide. Okay. And you can even say, here's my goal. I want to have fun, flirty, like sexy intimacy with you for the next 60 days. And let's see what happens. I'm going to go to my counselor and talk about other stuff. And I'm pressing pause on all that other stuff for 60 days. So I'm not going to talk about relationship or anything for at least a couple months. Like, I'm not asking her anything. I'm not asking her to commit to anything. Right? However, if she goes and fucks another guy tomorrow, I'm done. Like, is that does she understand?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I'm at, really.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, you hit it on the head, and I know we're running out of time. So
yeah, no, that's great, Tim. Right. So there's lots of other stuff, which is totally cool and understandable. And I'll say one more time, you can decide what you want in this chapter of your life, however long that is. You know, 60 to 90 days is a good chunk of time in my professional experience and personal experience to sort of decide what's my MO for the next 2 to 3 months, and that's how I'm going to live. So I don't try to decide every day. I don't reinvent myself every day. That's exhausting. It's depressing. It's confusing. So decide who you want to be for the next 2 months, and she can either come along or not. Like, that's how it is. That's how it is. And that's attractive. So it's, hey, here's what I'm doing. Let's have fun, sexy, flirty stuff. If you want to come along with me, cool. If not, I'm going to separate. That's a healthy vacuum within the next 60 days. And there's all that other work to be done along the way. And, you know, we could certainly talk more, Tim, but that's where I feel things are right this moment. So Roger, jump in. Give us 1 or 2 minutes of what you want to share, please. Yeah, unmute yourself and come on in. Yeah, go for it.
I'll just make it quick because long story short, not an issue in either of my marriages. But way back when, you know, I had a girlfriend come at me with that line of, let's see other people. So one thing that let me start with the negative first and then the positive. The negative is, you know, me being an amateur, that's kind of what some people say when they're trying to cover their bases. Like, you know, let's open the relationship and see if I can find somebody else. I mean, you know, now that being said, however, I think that you have to be, one of the things I've learned from Jeff and Cynthia and all the readings I've done is, you know what, say what's on your mind. I mean, it sounds like this is a deal breaker for you. You're not going to go for it. And I appreciate the need to step back and pause and not be, you know, a hot-headed asshole about it. But at the end of the day, you know, you can think about it for 15 seconds and be like, fuck that. And don't be afraid to tell her that, because either she's going to respect you for standing up for yourself and you're nuts, or she's going to say that's a no-go, in which case you wind up in the same place, but at least you told her what's on your mind and done what's right and true for yourself. And that's the key to this whole process.
Yeah, I love it. Totally. Absolutely. Yeah, Roger, mic drop. Yeah, bitch. Very nice.
So, and I say that with love, Tim. I mean, you're going to be okay. I mean, looking at you now, I mean, you know, like if I, you know, my daughter's too young for you because she's 4.5, but you're great for anybody. So believe in yourself. You know, if that's what she really wants, it's clear that it's a deal breaker for you. And don't be afraid to tell her that. I mean, you don't have to be an asshole about it, but be firm. I mean, you can even say, you know, fuck that. That's bullshit. You know, I'm not going for that. I mean, and that's okay, because one way or another, the only way you're going to wind up in a better place for you is by being true to yourself and your feelings.
Yeah, so I agree with Roger, and what I'll say is, so the fuck that, I'm not going to do that, is the dive into the pool, by the way, okay? So that's the fuck that, and then here's the plan of what I want to do. So what I want to do is take your shirt off right now and play with your nipples, but maybe that's not going to work. I mean, then you say what you want to do. Roger's showing us his nipples again. You get what I'm saying, Tim? So the fuck that is the dive, which is cool, and yes, I agree. And then here's what I do want. So you have to decide what you do want and be able to bring that in a strong way. That's where you want the kind of the Fonzie. That's where you want the, hey, I get, and you're going to be empathetic to her. So I know that the past has not been what you wanted. I know that there's a truckload of other things in our relationship you're not happy about. And I've thought a ton about that. And I have a lot of strong, deep feelings about that. And right now, what I want with you is I want to try some fun shit with you for the next couple months. And I'm going to go deal with the relationship stuff myself. I'm not interested for 2 months talking about relationship stuff. But what I am going to do is, what I'd love to do is connect with you physically and have fun. And, let's see what happens. Because that's what she's saying to you anyway, too. And you're going to have to reconnect in that way for there to be any kind of future between the two of you anyway. All of the other resentments, all the character assassination that she did with you, Tim, like those are things that you're going to go to professionals or your counselor, right, to talk about that in the interim. But the next 2 months, she's telling you the grounds. She doesn't want to talk about the relation. That's not the way you're going to reconnect in your situation. The grounds are she has to want to be with you. Okay? If she doesn't want to be with you, there's nothing to work on. Right? So that's what I'm telling you is what she's saying. Okay, so please give me some feedback and we'll have to close our show for today. Do you agree that and you can disagree with me, that's fine. Do you think that that's what his wife is saying are the grounds that she wants to try to connect with Tim on, or that she does want to give it a shot in that capacity? What's your feeling there as far as his wife?
Yeah, it feels like she is trying to reach out and connect with you, Tim. And so like her way of doing that is like through her body. Like I keep imagining, like literally like she's reaching out for you in that way. And I love what you modeled of you're not like putting under the rug that there's a whole lot of stuff in the past and that there's a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of anger. You're saying I'm going to put it in this box right now, and this is not disregarded. And, you're following where she's inviting you in. And again, I know there's a lot of pain there, but I also think, gosh, like what is there to be lost? If this is the avenue in, if this is a way through and a different kind of way of doing things, this is a spark, a fire, then there's nothing lost in moving into that space, because the other stuff is still there and it's not being pushed aside.
Yeah. You're not dismissing anything. This is where I think we're going to reconnect. And here's my vision. Here's my engaging, attractive vision for that. Totally cool. So Tim, if you want to talk more about that, if you want to talk more with Cynthia about that, I mean, obviously we do this professionally too. And, we're happy to talk with you about it in whatever capacity that you want, right? And this is going to be, awesome. Thanks for coming on. It's going to be like, hey, when I was 18, what would I have done? Because you mentioned that too. When I was 18, what would I have done? So ask yourself that. Yeah.
I would have started building my own harem.
Nice. You're a funny guy.
That's part of the pause and trying to figure out how I really felt about it too, but that's right. For another show.
Well, yeah. So she's the first girl in your harem, right? Let's see what happens over the next couple months as far as that goes. And you're a funny dude, man. I love it. Like, lean into who you are. Fuck yeah. Awesome. Cool. Love it, Tim. Thank you so much. Love you being on today, Tim. Supporting the chat is phenomenal. Roger, thanks for jumping on. Cynthia, love you being on so much. Let's please honor our men. We'll close it out for today, please.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And Roger, really appreciated your feedback. Tim, thank you so very much for sharing and honoring us with your story. And Andy is here. Thank you for being here. Brandon, thank you. Brett, Dave, Harry, Ian, Jason, thanks for your comments in the chat. John, Joseph, and Chris is here. Patrick, Randy, Rob, and Walters is here. Thank you for your presence and the momentum of energy moving forward and getting better and greater and what you truly deserve.
Yeah, we love being here. Thanks for being here, guys. This has been the C Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. If you're not yet a part of our private free Facebook group, go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your information. We need your Facebook email address that you use to log into Facebook to invite you in. Every man has been invited in, so that's how you request. If you want to talk with us about our one-on-one coaching, greatmenmovemountains.com/contact. Love you guys. Don't be afraid of fucking taking those steps in the world, right? Don't be afraid of standing up for who you are, Tim, right? Like Roger said, and dive into that pool and say what you want. Like, hey, propose it in a fun way. Be Fonzie. Hey, I want to like bring those nipples out, right? Bring those nipples out. Love you guys. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain.
Bye.
Bye.
Whose heart is sunshine, whose body burn hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares and it's lovely.